Hello and welcome to the SBC News for this Friday evening. 82-year-old Frank Marie was today released on bail, subject to his health conditions. This is in the case of illegal possession of arms and ammunition. Whilst in the case of the missing $50 million, the court has stressed on the SCCS to provide the defense with documents in preparation of their case.
The fifth accused in the arms and ammunition case, Frank Marie, was today released on bail conditions following two medical documents his lawyer served on the prosecution and the court regarding his chronic health issues and how this could be worsened if he remained in detention. Chief Justice Ronnie Covington agreed to these requests on humanitarian grounds, and Mr. Marie was released on the conditions that he reports to the police station weekly, surrenders his passport, signs a bail worth 100,000 rupees, and refrains from interfering with the investigation, witnesses, and evidence. The other defendants in the case will remain in detention and will appear in court on March 11th, while Laura Valabji will appear in court on March 8th, where her new bail application will be heard. Regarding the case of the missing $50 million, the defense insisted on providing a time frame within which all documents and evidence will be served.
This week was the third full week of hearing at the murder trial of Frenchman Thomas Desbaptistes, accused of having killed his partner Emmanuel Bazibanga on April the 27th at Club Med. Several witnesses were heard this week, amongst them a hotel security guard who claims to have seen the suspect leave the couple's room around 6:50 p.m., but also a Club Med entertainer who claimed to have been with the accused until 6:30, but he was not wearing a watch. In addition to these testimonies, the other highlight of the week took place this morning with a return of more than 20 pieces of evidence, which until then had been in France for analysis, and amongst them was a scarf suspected of being the weapon of the crime. Next week will be largely devoted to the hearing of the medical examiner, whose autopsy had concluded the case as a murder. The leader of the opposition, Sébastien Pillay, described President Wavell Ramkalawan's sonorous speech as out of touch with reality. His remark in the National Assembly this morning targeted mainly the cost of living. He has also made a call to government for more tolerance, transparency, and willingness to assist those in need.
His treatment of the issue of cost of living was not serious enough, and he was not in tune with what the majority of Seychelles are going through. I also felt that his argument about reserves and the government earning more from taxes is again not connected to what he's saying in terms of the cost of living, because if he's getting more from taxes, it's because people are paying higher prices for things, and therefore there is a need for the government to step in. There is a need for tolerance, that he has to accept that there will be criticism of his government, and that when that criticism happens, he has to react in the way that the presidents of the past have reacted. His call for unity can only happen when there is tolerance. And the conclusion in all of that was to make the president understand, we are not going to agree with you on everything that you say. We do not live in a dictatorship, we live in a democracy. And there will be difference of opinion, and when that difference of opinion happens, you need to accept it. I find it very difficult to get information, and especially, for example, with the Ministry of Finance, where it seems that decisions are being taken, but there's always some form of cloud over how these decisions are being taken. And the ministries are not being transparent about what they are doing, what is happening. And because of that, I think people do not understand, and people cannot see what government is actually doing, and people do not know what is happening. The president was warned that COVID was a serious issue by the former president. He chose not to listen. He made a promise that he was going to change the business practice of STC. He made a promise that he's going to change middlemen, that he's going to bring solar panels on STC and reduce the cost of living. But at the end of the day, the administration has not been able to do all these things. And I just listened to the leader of government business and in what he's saying. It's as if the leader of government business is on the same cloud as his president, and the opposition, as I knew it then, who's now in government, which I knew as people who would talk about issues, have now become worse than the previous people that were in government. They are now glorifying everything, and not one single thing is wrong. And accepting that something is wrong has become something which is antithesis to how this government behaves.
And in his reply to the State of the Nation address, the leader of government business, Bernard Georges, highlighted works that have been done to transform the country.
My speech was based on the three big themes of the President's speech, which were transformation, positivity, and the fact that it is the best time for us to be Seychellois right now. And I used those three themes and I developed them as I said I would. Well, transformation is the key behind the manifesto promise of the current government, which is that we needed to make some structural changes, but also some individual transformations in ourselves, in the way that we move forward as a nation, in the fact that we must move away from being a nation of dependents to being a nation of individuals, each looking for their own good. This, of course, is, as I say, the main pillar of the change that the current government wished to introduce to the people. And this leads inexorably, this transformation, to a feeling of positiveness, because you see things happening, you see things looking different. Small things like not having the president's picture in offices anymore, but big things like the way in which government operates. And as a consequence of that, the idea is that everybody will say, well, this is the best time to be a Seychellois, and this is the best time to be living in the country. Essentially, that was his theme, and that was my theme in support of his message.
There are 442 active cases of COVID-19 in the country, as per the Ministry of Health's latest press communiqué. The daily toll of infection is as low as 36. There are 351 cases on Mahé, 69 on Praslin, 9 on La Digue, and 13 on other islands. The total death toll is 163. IDC has recently acquired the property of the ex-Agro. IDC's Chief Executive Officer, Glennie Savvy, says that the company wanted to upgrade its aviation facilities with the growth of tourism and agriculture. IDC also announced that early next year, its headquarters will move to Île-du-Port. Mr. Savvy says that the government has asked them to move due to the expansion of the port.
The reason for that is that we're planning to upgrade our aviation facilities with the growth of tourism and now, more importantly, agricultural development on the outer islands. There is a need for us to upgrade our aeroplanes in the very near future to cope with the expansion that is taking place on the outer islands. In order to do that, we are looking at the purchase of a different type of aircraft, a bigger aircraft, than the Beechcraft that we currently now operate. Currently, one of the options that we're looking at is an ATR-42. And that aeroplane is a much bigger aeroplane. It's a 40-seater rather than an 18-seater that we have now. And it's an aeroplane that will not fit in our current hangar, our current facilities. And for structural reasons and for lane size reasons, we're not able to accommodate on our existing parcel of land facilities for the new generation airplanes that will come. So we have agreed with, we came to an agreement with government, was to swap. We have about the same size of land where we are now, which are our own premises, which we own freehold. We'll be relinquishing that land to government and replacing it with the agro site, which belongs to government, which government will let us have on a leasehold. Head office as well, where we have been, where we are here now, been here for about 35 years, one of the very first buildings on this reclamation. The government has asked us if within the next 5 years we could move out of here because it's going to be part of the expansion of the port. And so since last year we've managed to acquire another piece of land on Île-du-Port where we are building our new head office now, and where we are now today we will relinquish that back to government which will become part and parcel of the new port expansion program.
And that's it for now. I'll be back with all the day's news in Creole in just an hour's time.